Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, Inside the System, with Devin and Cohen.
Today's episode, we're going to talk about how justice isn't equal within the justice system. Whose case are we going to focus on today?
This episode, we're going to focus on the case of Walter McMillan, a man who was wrongfully convicted and sent to death row.
Walter's story is told in the novel Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson, which highlights serious problems in the justice system.
Walter McMillan was a successful black businessman in Monroe County, Alabama. He owned a pulpwood company and had a nice family with a wife and kids. But his life completely changed after having an interracial affair with Karen Kelly, a white woman in Monroe County, which was the start of Walter's downfall.
So just that alone made him a target?
Exactly, and in 1986, a young, respected white woman by the name of Rhonda Morrison was murdered.
The community demanded answers quickly, which made the police undergo pressure to find someone to convict of further murder.
Even though Walter has no connection to the crime, he became the main suspect through the story of Ralph Myers.
What did Ralph say?
Ralph told the police that Walter forced him to help him with the crime, but his story didn't make sense, and Walter didn't even know who Ralph was.
That already sounds suspicious. Did Walter have any proof that he wasn't there?
He did. Walter had multiple alibis. He was at a fish fry with dozens of people at the time of the murder. Despite this, the police and the judge ignored this and charged him with the murder of Rhonda Morrison. Isn't that crazy, Cohen?
Yeah, honestly, that's hard to believe. So how exactly was Walter treated differently?
Firstly, the justice system relied on a false testimony from Ralph Myers instead of real evidence that was provided in the trial. As well as Ralph Myers was pressured by the police to give a statement, and the police offered incentives to Bill Hook, a jailhouse snitch, to testify against Walter.
So the evidence was not even reliable?
Not at all. Secondly, Walter's alibi's evidence was completely ignored, even though it was strong and supported by many people, and Walter was placed on death row before his trial.
Why was that?
That was because the police didn't want anyone to know the truth about the case and wanted to push it away. Lastly, the judge overrode the jury's recommendation of life imprisonment and sentenced him to death row anyway. This is just unbelievable.
Wow, that's a clear example of injustice within the justice system and abuse of power.
I know, and Walter's case reflects a larger pattern in the justice system, not just one mistake. According to the Department of Justice of Canada, black individuals are more likely to experience use of force and unequal treatment in the justice system, even when behavior is the same. The report also says these differences can't be explained by actions alone, which proves that it's systemic racism.
So this kind of thing still happens today?
Yes, and research from the Sentencing Project shows that people of color are more likely to be stopped by police and receive harsher sentences.
So Walter's case isn't rare. It's a part of broader patterns of equality?
Exactly.
But why is Walter treated that way?
Well, one of the major reasons was systemic racism, where the system creates unequal outcomes. Walter was seen as suspicious because he was a black man in an interracial relationship, which made him easy to convict of a crime.
And I'm guessing the pressure to solve the case didn't help either?
Not at all. Another reason was the pressure on law enforcement to solve the case quickly for the community. Instead of finding the truth, they focused on convicting a person fast to satisfy the public. There was also corruption in the system, where witnesses were pressured or rewarded to give a false testimony. Lastly, a lack of accountability because it took years to correct these mistakes.
So how did the truth come out?
Brian Stevenson took on the case of Walter McMillan, and after years on death row, Walter had been released. He proved that the false testimony and that the evidence didn't support the conviction of Walter McMillan.
That's good. How was he when he was released?
Unfortunately, because of all the trauma he experienced on death row, he suffered severe dementia and died when he was 71. All because the justice system was trying to convict someone for a crime they didn't commit.
Walter McMillan's case is a powerful example of an injustice within the justice system and how quickly people use their power and authority against others. He wasn't treated based on evidence. He was treated based on assumptions in his race.
And data from the Department of Justice Canada and the Sentencing Project prove that this kind of inequality still exists today, not just in America, but in Canada as well.
Justice is supposed to be equal, but it clearly isn't.
Thanks for listening to Inside the System with Devin and Cohen, and we'll see you next time.